don't turn the ball over. I think that's the biggest thing for our offense is not to turn the ball over. With the type of defense we've been playing throughout the season, we need to maintain the ball to be a more consistent offense.
With or without healthy quarterbacks, the Edmonton Eskimos are in for a test today as they face the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who are looking for their 4th straight win. It's the Canadian Football Network from Commonwealth Stadium, Edmonton. The Ticats can create a first-place tie in the East with the Toronto Argonauts if they win this game, and the Edmonton Eskimos are trying to break a first-place tie in the West. Currently, Edmonton and Saskatchewan with 12 points apiece. The Eskimos can go ahead by themselves once again if they defeat the Tiger Cats. A previous meeting this season saw Hamilton's defense completely dominate Tracy Ham and the Edmonton offense 22-14, but since then, things have changed, and Tracy Ham is more experienced and will get the start again. Kickoff goes away from Gizmo Williams to Don Wilson, and the coverage is excellent by the Tiger Cats as they hit him as he hits the 30-yard line.
Tracy Ham saying his ankle is 100%. As a new piece of explosive equipment in the offense. Henry Williams, number 2, is going to be lining up outside. They're excited about the opportunity of getting him the football, but will not force it to him.
Of course, the Eskimos running backs, the Canadian running backs, a position at which they are so deep, are injured. Johnstone and Marshall and Spallettini, so they're a bit thin back there, as well as at the quarterback position. Ham on the run. Scrambles and might have got a yard or two by diving, but the pressure from the Hamilton defense, which Ham knows so well from his game earlier this season, starts right away. Nice sunny day at Commonwealth Stadium. If you're sitting where the sun doesn't shine, however, it is cool, and the breeze is significant.
Will be second down and 9. Everton the ball on their own 31.
Charitable to give Ham a yard on the play. We'll call it 2nd and 9. And he'll get another yard perhaps, but the Tiger Cats closing in on Tracy Ham will force the Edmonton Eskimos. Jerry Corrick, the best punter in the CFL, to kick it away. He's averaging 46 yards.
Al Bruno said if we're going to contain Tracy Ham, we have to do it from the outside in. Don't let him run around our ends and go to the sidelines where he can really be damaging. Let's get him upfield where he can close in on linebackers, and the 2 tackles can also come off their blocks and make a tackle.
Corrick to Winfield, and let's see what Earl Winfield has in store for us today. Bad return, advancing the ball past the 45-yard line. Good field position for Mike Kerrigan and the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense. The best pass attack in the CFL as far as yardage is concerned.
Well, you look at some statistics, most yards passing, average passing per game, most passes attempted, most completed, and it's all led by this man, Mike Kerrigan and the Hamilton Tiger Cat offense.
It was an in-and-out season for Kerrigan until 3 weeks ago. 2 big wins over Ottawa and last week's win over the Argonauts, and Kerrigan is back on the mark in his Grey Cup form. I guess that's the measure by which Mike Kerrigan is rated, and he's starting to show he's as good as he was then. 13 touchdowns tied for the league lead. The BC Lions have always had trouble in Winnipeg, and always includes today. Winnipeg pasting the Lions 33-7. Some new personnel on offense for Winnipeg, and that has made a difference. We'll give you some details on the Blue Bombers' big lead and apparent win over the Lions shortly. A pass on 2nd down should make a first down as Kerrigan hits Rocky DiPietro.
Complete to DiPietro.
Well, the sure-handed DiPietro is just going to go straight out, run a flat. Ron Howard at the halfback spot. You see Danny Bass in the middle dropping off. Close coverage, but just an outstanding catch, being able to get off the ground and catch the ball.
With that catch and first down, the Tiger Cats advance to Edmonton territory. Martin Sarton stumbling as he crossed the line of scrimmage, reaching for the 50-yard line of the Eskimos.
I've often seen when teams come into Commonwealth Stadium, they're not really sure what kind of footwear to to wear during the game. Beforehand, at least 2 hours before, some of the players are out trying the multi-cleat, 7-cleat, and I think it makes a big difference when you're used to playing on turf and practicing on turf.
2nd and 8 Ticats from the Eskimos' 50-yard line. Bullet pass by Kerrigan. The problem is it is behind the receiver, DiPietro. So here is the Hamilton punter, Paul Osbaldiston, and Al Bruno minces no words when he says this is the weakest part of our game. We simply have to get better punts out of number 3.
When you add up the difference in punts and their average, Cork 46, as you can see right there, 35 for Osbaldiston. That turns out 11-yard exchange. Add that up over a game, it makes a difference in the field position.
Bruno says, I don't even ask for an average of 40 yards per punt. If you could just get it up to about 38, we'd be happy.
Eskimos are showing a different set. Don Wilson, sort of an intermediary returner, a little bit up front of the Gizmo and Sandusky.
Well, you know Gizmo Williams isn't going to concede single points if he has a decent chance to run it out, but perhaps on that play. He brings it out only to the 7-yard line, and so we remain scoreless. Proof of the importance of footwear, and of course Martin Sarton stumbled in his first carry, and you heard Neil say that visiting teams very often take a while to adjust to this field and what they need on their feet to help them do that. Chris Skinner loses a couple of yards, and that Hamilton defense is dominating the game so far as they did the earlier meeting with the Edmonton Eskimos. Up front, Tim Lorenz at one end, Robert Covington at the other, Robinson, Corbin, and Quinn, and it Shields, Fields, 3 others in that secondary. Big Mike Walker getting set. Tracy Ham has not thrown a pass yet, but he wants to now, and avoids the safety, and the Edmonton offense not yet in gear.
Well, that Hamilton defense, always ferocious coming up the field. They're very disciplined when they come in a rush. You're going to see Ham roll a little bit to try to get away, to take some of the lanes away, but they are so well schooled along that defensive line in that front of Hamilton that when the pocket moves, they move, and they move their rush with it.
So Gizmo Williams didn't want to give up a single point. Now the Tiger Cats figure to be in shape to kick for 3 even if they don't move the ball after Corrick's punt. He is capable of booming one, however, but that's not it. No yards is called, and the Tiger Cats will be in great shape. Indeed, they, without making a yard, are going to have a chance at the Osbaldiston field goal, but they'll want to do more than that. Wally's at Tilney fielded the punt, and the Eskimos were obviously
4 yards. Edmonton number 50.
Within the first 5 yards zone.
The Eskimo defense has been tough and stingy all year, and they're going to have to come up right here early on in the game to keep Hamilton off the board. Paul Osbaldiston in the pregame warm-up kicking in this direction seemed easily putting them through from 48 to 50 yards.
First down after the penalty from the Eskimo 21-yard line. Kerrigan overthrows the intended receiver coming out of the backfield. That's Martin Sarton. He left his feet not because of his footing, but because he tried to go up and get the ball. Here's the Edmonton defense, the best in terms of yards allowed in the CFL, and it really has come on since Stuart Hill joined the team. Danny Bass, Larry Ruck, and Brian Warren. Warren has adjusted well to the linebacker position. 5 imports across the back. 2nd and 10, Tiger Cats from the Edmonton 21. Kerrigan's getting time to throw. Again out of the backfield. This time completed to Sarton, but not for a first down.
Well, those running backs can come open in many situations. When the linebackers drop, as you'll see here, Sarton will check. No one coming, just a little swing. Kerrigan's going to look downfield. Nothing open enough to try to force the ball in. Just a simple dump pass.
And a second and 3rd down and 2 on the Edmonton 14.
They're about 3 yards away from a first down, and so Al Bruno doesn't want to gamble, but rather will send Osbaldiston in to try a 21-yard field goal. And the Tiger Cats are in front by a score of 3-0. Foster's Locker and the Canadian Football Network are bringing you the best of the CFL. Damon Allen has seen far too many games from this vantage point with street clothes this season, his second major injury. The injury put him out, and now it's a separated shoulder. Flag is thrown as Tracy Ham's first pass is thrown and caught by Jim Sandusky. Will check the penalty.
Jim Sandusky, he brought down by Lansfield.
In Edmonton's favor against Hamilton for offside.
With both Sandusky and Williams to the outside, we might see that pass thrown a little bit more because they both have the ability to catch it quickly, make one tackler miss, go down the sideline.
Offside, Hamilton number 59, decline, second down.
Outside is called against Hamilton.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeat the BC Lions 34-8. Winnipeg's second home victory over the Lions this season. And so BC is now third in the West, failing to pull even with Saskatchewan and Edmonton. And the Eskimos declined the penalty because they had second and very short yardage. And of course they picked up the first down that way, as you saw. So Tracy Ham and the Edmonton offense finally able to move the yardsticks. Brian Walling is Chris Skinner's backfield mate. Sandusky and Gizmo Williams, the wide receivers today. Williams playing for the injured Stephen Jones, who is dressed, but not able to start. And a nice pass. And good anticipation by Sandusky to come back toward the quarterback and use his body to make sure the defender couldn't get to it.
Well, a receiver knows when the separation comes and he has to come back how hard and quickly he comes back to the football. He's out against Les Brown. He knows Brown's going to come out quickly, so he comes back just that much further. Don't sit and wait for the football. The sooner you get it in your hands, the sooner you can make something happen.
First penetration by the Eskimos into Hamilton territory. Ham a little more confident now. He throws it out. Skinner finally stumbles and goes down. Howard Fields in the backfield will get the credit for the tackle, although he wanted it to be a little more sure.
Asking Howard Fields if he felt he'd see a different Tracy Ham than he did the last time they played him at Ivor Wynne Stadium. He said for sure, I don't think we'll see the 6 interceptions, and we'll see a lot more mobility.
They're back at midfield and just on their own side of the center field stripe. Ham looking to set up the screen, and all the Tiger Cats yell out the word to tell everybody what's happening. It was a screen pass to Greg Miller, newcomer in the backfield for the Eskimos. He has had a tryout with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in his CFL past, but is caught on, at least for the time being, with Edmonton. Corrick to punt on third down. Winfield and Zatilny almost got tied up, but Earl Winfield breaks away from his teammate and from Eskimos. An exciting return again by Earl Winfield as Joe Farragalli looks on, wondering about his team's offensive problems early in this game.
Well, Farragalli making the comment earlier this week saying it's a crime that we don't get Henry Williams the ball more, and that's why he's out a wide receiver. Stephen Jones is a little bit nicked, but I think it's just the fact that they want a little bit more explosion, and whether it's wide receiver, slot, or running back, Joe Farragalli, he was going to get the gizmo in the game somehow.
Martin Sarton, Jed Tommy, the running backs, but Kerrigan's throwing it. A good catch by Sarton, who puts his shoulder into Steve Benjamin and gets a couple more yards close to midfield.
Martin Sarton straight out of the backfield. We saw him check once. This time it's a pattern. He's right out. Brian Warren, number 38, will be in coverage. But Sarton is able to get to the flat a little bit more quickly than Warren. And you see what happens. A half a step in front of a linebacker can make a big difference.
Ticats with a 3-0 lead, and the advantage in every way so far in this game as they plunge across midfield. Danny Bass and Brian Warren on top of Sarton. turned away from the musical Cats. These are fans with a war paint and cheers for Hamilton. Kerrigan to Tony Champion, and the passing of Mike Kerrigan really looks just the same as it did last week against the Toronto Argonauts.
Tony Champion, brought down by Tony.
If Kerrigan can get that type of protection, Tiger Cat offensive line, considered one of the best, have only given up 20 quarterback sacks this year. They have to pick up a blitz of 2 linebackers. With that type of pattern, Champion coming across, you need that little bit extra. That's what Kerrigan has been getting.
First down, Ticats at the Edmonton 38. Not much there for Sarton. Again, it's Danny Bass on top of him after a short gain. Kerrigan really had been hot and cold throughout his career, and including this season, until 3 games ago. And Al Bruno said we lessened his load a little bit, pared down his playbook, and told him to concentrate on what he does best. Also gave him some confidence 3 games ago by telling him he was the quarterback against Ottawa. There'd be no lifting him. And Al Bruno mentioned the protection from the offensive line, which is going to help any quarterback if it gets better, and that's what's happened in Hamilton.
Well, I think it has to be a concern of a quarterback when you're in a rotation system, that if you think you throw 1 interception or a couple of bad balls, you throw your hands in the air and say, well, I guess I'm out of here now. And I think what Al Bruno did in Ottawa is saying, look, those things are going to happen. I understand that, but I'm going to give you a chance to establish yourself. Show me what you can do. Kerrigan has not let him down.
Did Osbaldiston with the first field goal try, but this is much longer, 44 yards. He makes this one as well. So it's 6-0. The Tiger Cats having the scoring opportunities. They don't get the touchdown, but they get 2 field goals. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are back to the 500 mark with their win over BC, and there you see that Hamilton can pull even with Toronto. The Lions now 3rd in the West. The Eskimos hoping to be first by themselves after today's game. Got to start moving the ball better than we've seen in the first dozen minutes. Ticats are offside. The Eskimos will gain the 5 themselves, but prefer the penalty to make it first down and 5 from the 40.
Down by Rod Kilman, along with Frank Robinson.
Daryl Corbin, middle linebacker, sneaking up, trying to get that extra pressure and be in there first.
Hamilton are offside.
Got in there a little bit too quickly.
Offside, Hamilton number 59. First down repeated.
That'll be first down and 5. Edmonton the ball on their own 40.
The Hamilton defense has taken a bit of a backseat to Kerrigan and his offensive mates in recent weeks, but obviously the Eskimos know how good this defense can be from their first game this season. That's newcomer Greg Miller running with the ball.
Miller with the ball.
Greg Miller, who was a linebacker at Concordia University, now, as you can see, is a running back, good size, 6'2", 230 pounds. He adds a little bit more size for the blocking of the sprint out that Tracy Ham could do an awful lot of today.
The indication is that Tracy Ham is going to go straight ahead or hand the ball off to somebody else who will do that on 2nd and short yardage. Just shy of the Edmonton 45. No, he's going to try to go deep. And now scramble for the first down. And he gets that without much difficulty. Quarterback with the running ability of Tracy Ham does allow you to do that sort of thing on 2nd and short yardage. If the pass receiver isn't there, Ham can do just what he did to get the first down anyway.
Well, he makes the right decision. Quick fake to Miller. Now he's going to look and nothing comes open quickly. You see number 33, Mike Robinson is caught inside, losing a bit of contain. Ham speed, he gets to the outside.
Part of the right of the bottom of your screen is Gizmo Williams, and he drops the pass. The pass was thrown to him. The coverage was good. Gizmo couldn't hold him.
I asked Gary Durchik today, the offensive line coach of the Eskimos, who he felt they had to control on defense, and he said, of course, Mike Walker, he's just such a dominant individual, but also Frank Robinson, who does a great job in coverage, blitzing, brings into the game 3 interception. He also is a very important factor in that Tiger Cat defense.
Second down after the incomplete pass. Ham sitting in the pocket. And he'll go down at the 45-yard line.
J.C. Ham brought down by Rod Gilman.
Defensive backs often will play tight on a receiver. You see right here. Brown lets Williams get off the line, but now he's allowed. The ball hasn't been thrown. He can control the receiver, push him out, and of course, once he's out of bounds, you know he can't come back. Takes him right out of the play. Ham has no place to go.
Except to the arms of Rod Skillman, and here's another Jerry Corrick punt. He is punting into the wind in this first quarter, and that has held down his average. Some 8 yards below his league-leading total. Hit somebody, and it doesn't really matter who. It's a no-yards penalty. Today at halftime, a look at the pride of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, 11-year veteran Rocky DiPietro.
Now it's a different challenge. The challenge is almost to survive, and you know, I kind of like that. I like challenges.
Well, it's a challenge for the Tiger Cats coming in here to Edmonton. The Eskimos haven't lost a home game this season. So far, the Ticats are responding very well. Hector Pache and his Edmonton offensive teammates not yet wound up. Kerrigan threw that one up for grabs, which was incomplete. Kerrigan with Martin Sarton and Jed Tommy in the backfield. Tony Champion and Steve Stapler, the wide receivers. 2 good Canadian receivers inside. Jacques Chapdelaine with a big game against the Argos last week, and Rocky DiPietro. And the offensive line that has helped to give better protection to Mike Kerrigan in recent weeks. The Ticats were 3-3, and now 6-3. Trying to go into first place tie with the Argos. Kerrigan faked one way, went the other with the screen. Tommy couldn't hold his feet.
But Dave, the standard cleat that most players would wear today would be 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Some of these players, as we saw earlier, Sarton was changed. They might go to a 3/4 inch cleat just to get some of the traction, because you're going to see here, Tommy's going to try to make a couple of cuts, stumbles once, and he wants to get back inside, but he just can't get any push from the cleats that he's wearing.
With the wind, does Baldiston 54 yards with his first punt. Williams and Sandusky are deep, and there's no bargain there. Keep it away from Gizmo, you get Jim Sandusky. So Henry Williams has the ball and some room. He's going to score. Henry Williams all the way for the touchdown. The first one of the season for the Gizmo.
Good blocking. He's going to get upfield, then kick it outside. You see the pressure. He eludes that first group of tacklers. Now look at the Ticats working hard to get to the sidelines, because they know if he gets out there, they've lost contain, and there's a good chance that he'll score. Junior Robinson in front, and he makes the final block on us, Baldiston.
Unofficially 100 yards. Take that, Earl Winfield.
Well, Earl Winfield said it last week, if you have 11 other guys working hard for you, knowing you can score, this can be the result. He gets up on his own, but the blocking takes place here. Lee Knight, 25, steps in, but then he loses the contain. And Williams, with his speed, gets to the outside, and he gets that Eskimo bench excited as en route. He has to pass them by.
Junior Robinson knew when he had the kicker tied up long enough that Gizmo Williams was going, and Robinson pointed the way.
It's been a while since he's done that. He's a little out of breath.
He'd been frustrated, too, without a punt return touchdown this season. So here he gets one the night when he's looking forward to catching some passes. He hasn't done that yet, but Williams' specialty produces a touchdown. Now it's Winfield's turn. He answers with a decent run up near the 48-yard line.
Well, Earl Winfield's goal is to be a wide receiver, a starter at one point, but you have to wonder, he gets the ball probably more now as a specialist returning kicks and punts 11 or 12 times a game than he'd ever probably see the ball on a consistent basis at wide receiver.
Al Bruno says Winfield is also capable of running a few plays out of the backfield as a runner and could also be a defensive back, and said he would be a very good defensive back. Surprisingly so if the Ticats ever had to use him there. Carrying it outside, nice pass, right at midfield, and a couple of yards short of a first down. So some excitement by the little man wearing number 2 as the Eskimos in front after quarter number 1. The Eskimos are leading because of special teams and because of the league's top-rated defense, and because the Ticats chose not to go for a field goal that would have put them in front.
Almost seemed like Sarton left his feet too early. That would have been a fine move if he had about less than a yard to go, but they had more to do than that.
And deep downfield, and he overthrows by about 10 yards Gizmo Williams.
Well, that's a necessary thing as a quarterback. You've got to throw that ball deep. Sometimes even if it's not a proper throw, it looks like a good play, because you've got to keep those secondary people spread out. If you just keep throwing the ball short, that secondary will shrink, the linebackers close in, make it very tough for you to throw the ball to the inside.
Second down, Edmonton, from the Eskimos' 21-yard line. Nice dump pass, and to Skinner, and he's got a lot of room to go. Well-conceived play, and just what the Eskimos needed to get these fans into the game from an offensive standpoint and move the ball.
Eskimos send Brian Walling to the left, 34. He's already up at the line of scrimmage. Skinner fakes like he's going to block somebody. Here comes Robinson over to block, to take on that block. Skinner just sneaks out. Across the formation, leaves Robinson behind.
Gain was 24 from Ham to Skinner. First down at the 45 for the Eskimos. Good hitting by the Hamilton defense. Mike Walker specifically on Skinner.
Mike Walker brings into this game 12 sacks, and that's really outstanding for a defensive tackle. You can understand those rush ends, the great ones like Jurison and Covington, but when you play the inside, often you have a little bit more to get through, and Mike Walker really having an outstanding year.
Tied for the league lead entering this week with Vince Goldsmith of Saskatchewan, and those quarterback sacks do add up. Mike Walker with 12. Rod Skillman had 10, and Grover Covington 9. So no quarterback is going to be too happy to face the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Friday in the Canadian Football League and on the Canadian Football Network, the BC Lions will be at home against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the West Division standings indicate just how important that game is. BC right now with 10 is third, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders right now with 12 are tied for first place with Edmonton. That, of course, could change today. And I suppose the Lions have to be wondering about the team behind them, the Calgary Stampeders, who eked out an overtime victory last night over the Ottawa Roughriders, and Calgary is 4 points back of BC.
See running back Chris Skinner receiving some attention after that last running play. Had to stay down. You know, Dave, you talk about respect, and across the league there are an awful lot of teams that have earned respect, both by the fans and the players. Saskatchewan's one team that has shown that they belong and are very, very effective and efficient in could end up in first place in the Western Conference. A long way to go still, but they're showing that they can win the tight ones now.
They're in the race. There's no doubt about it. They just wanted to make the playoffs this year. That was their first goal, and I think they can soon count on that. But they want more, and they are capable of more than that. Nice catch by Rick House. He has gone down and dug those out during his career, and
not many do it any better. Tracy Hams did a semi-roll. It's called a throwback. That pocket's going to form to his left side. He throws back against the grain, and Rick House just goes down for it.
Minor injury to Chris Skinner at the Edmonton bench. He will return. Man runs straight up the middle. And boy, he sure finds those holes. Gliding almost looked like Damon Allen on that run. Tracy Ham has more moves than Allen, but didn't need them that time.
I think we can see that why he's the leading receiver of this Eskimo football club. Got to see Sandusky to the outside. There's just nowhere to throw. The defensive back obviously in the way and behind Sandusky. Ham not able to throw it over the shoulder, but when in doubt, even with a sore ankle, he takes it up.
From the Tiger Cat 33. Walling is hit on a solid tackle.
Walling with the ball. Down by Daryl Corbin.
Corbin, the middle linebacker, with a good hit on Walling.
See Daryl Corbin, big shoes to fill this year, filling Ben Zambiazzi. There's a little bit of movement going to the one side, but Corbin reads the back and the blocking by the offensive line and goes to that open area. That was nicely done and open by the offensive line. Just wasn't big enough.
Eskimos lost a yard. It's 2nd and 11 from the Tiger Cat 34. Ham, receiver again, diving for the catch. And I don't know if Rick House wants Tracy Ham to get those passes up to make them a little easier, but boy, they're not going to be intercepted when they're thrown like this.
Well, you see Scott Flagel, number 14, stepping back, and he pointed to his right. Then he turned his hips to the right. That was the time Tracy Ham threw the football because he knew Flagel couldn't get back and cover that one side.
1st and goal, and this is where Tracy Ham's running ability creates problems for defenses. From the 7, the Ticats jump offside, and the whistle will bring the play to a halt before officially it can get underway.
Whistle goes before the play got off. Lights on the play.
Offside, Hamilton number 77, first down repeated.
And with that, Grover Covington going offside, the Eskimos bring in their elephant team, which is the short yardage. Brett Williams, Stu Hill will play the ends, and Powell with the number 3 jersey will be another offensive lineman. They're going for that big surge.
From 3 yards out, Ham with 3 backs behind him, so there's 4 people who can carry the ball. Greg Miller gets the handoff. Pretty good confidence shown in a rookie to give him the football in that situation. Ticats converging on him quickly, though, and Miller didn't threaten to score. He got a yard to the 2.
In that full house backfield set, that middle spot has been taken all year by Blake Marshall. He's out with a knee injury. Tony Spallettini is out with a knee injury.
Chris Johnstone missing as well, so here's 2nd and goal from the 2. And right there, Les Brown preventing the touchdown, and really not much of a gain on 2nd down by Miller.
Well, up close to the line of scrimmage, you're going to see it. Watch the lead block to the left. Stuart Hill. Miller's going to hit up and then take it out, but that area is already taken by Grievous and Les Brown. And Brown, all he has to do is step inside from that corner spot at the line of scrimmage and close off that area, and good tackle on a big man.
Okay, let's see if the Eskimos try to plunge or do something a bit more fancy with Tracy Ham. Nope, straight ahead. No signal now. It is a touchdown.
Marshall's, Greg Miller's first, going over the left side. Brett Williams, Hector Pache, and Blake Dermott. It was close, but it was over.
Well, the officials mirror the play. Initially, he didn't have it, and another surge brought the arms up, and Greg Miller, with 3 cracks to match the 2 threes on his jersey, gets in and keeps the football, and Jerry Corey converts the first offense out of the game. The Eskimos have 2 majors. The Ticats have 2 field goals. Edmonton leads 14-6 on a 2-yard touchdown run by rookie Greg Miller, who is being kept busy by the Eskimos today. He covers this kickoff with 11 other Eskimos, and Wally Zatilny is their target. Driven out of bounds just as he was preparing to cross the 40-yard line.
That's Mark Norman.
Miller able to stay low. He's going to step to his left, open with that left foot. Now just get those shoulders and head down and follow the big guys. But the key there is he hits in, slides a little bit to his right, and that's where the score came from. Now repair a bleeding lip.
Tiger Cats at their 40-yard line. Move. Taken down at the line of scrimmage. Good play by Stu Hill.
Stuart Hill bringing down Mike Kerrigan.
On the first look, and I'm sure Al Bruno would have to agree, you'd think Mike Kerrigan would have been able to get to the outside and set up and throw the football, but just an outstanding effort by Stu Hill, who will be blocked by Tommy first off and put on the ground. Now he's up back on his feet and pursuing. Mike Kerrigan unable to throw the ball on that one pump, and that's all Stuart Hill needed, just a little more time.
Momentum all with Edmonton right now. The Tiger Cats try for a first down that might change that. Safe, dependable, Rocky DiPietro over the middle. How many times have the Tiger Cats needed 10 or 15 yards and picked it up just like that?
Well, no one can get to an open area as well as DiPietro, especially to the inside.
On their own 53.
Defensive line of the Tiger Cats receiving some instruction, maybe changing some things, trying to mess up the offensive scheme. Ted Schmidt, their coach.
Kerrigan overthrowing at the sidelines with Stanley Blair there to cover Steve Stapler, if that mattered. Kerrigan threw it too far.
Well, the Eskimos know that Kerrigan doesn't like to run, and they've got one spot, one target to go in on. See Columbus just flying in there. He knows he can go to that spot. Kerrigan would rather stand and throw the ball and take the hit. Eskimos realizing that, just going to that one area. Columbus back, second game back after a knee injury.
Second down, rush coming. Kerrigan throws away from the rush, incomplete. Jacques Chapdelaine did not catch it. And so it's third down with just under 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. They say good defense beats good offense. So far, the good defense of the Eskimos, especially against the pass, seems to have halted Mike Kerrigan's streak of the past 3 weeks.
Well, we've seen Kerrigan go back and release the ball quickly. He hasn't done that today, and maybe the Eskimos are able to disguise their coverages, making him take that second look.
Gizmo is back, and Osbaldiston might have preferred to kick it away from him, and that can hamper the punt. Did then.
Well, when you look at the Eskimo lineup and the people that they can put back to receive a punt or a kickoff, if it isn't Henry Williams or Jim Sandusky, it could very well be Tom Richards. He's taken them back. They just have a number of people. Stephan Jones when he's healthy.
Less than 3 minutes now till halftime. First down Edmonton from the Eskimo 32. And fake the short one, threw a deep one. Sandusky just over his hands. This is a Foster's Lager telecast on the Canadian Football Network. As the Edmonton Eskimos hold an 8-point lead. And will try second down from their 32-yard line. and had a blitz all the way from secondary, and Ham did not throw it. Goes right down at the line of scrimmage, and Jerry Corrick will come in to punt.
Arnold Grievous from his halfback spot does blitz, but blitz is late. That could have hurt them. He has to get up at the line of scrimmage when the ball snapped and get in there. Grover Covington comes off his block and does get Ham down, but I tell you, in a blitzing situation, you're leaving yourself vulnerable, so it has to go well.
Corrick with the wind. So far, it's Gizmo Williams 1, Earl Winfield nothing. Here's Winfield. Flag down. Winfield is running into Edmonton territory. But the flag indicates that it's not going to count, and the Tiger Cats are going to be pushed back to their zone.
Winfield brought down by Pierre Birchall.
Illegal block. Hamilton, number 33. First down.
Illegal block call against Hamilton.
You know, it's one thing to get a block from behind, as Mike Robinson was caught for, but if it's not near the play, it's really unnecessary. Your player, the guy you're supposed to be blocking, didn't have a chance, and he might have waited right there on the left screen, right there, 33 on 33.
Ticats keep it on the ground. First down to Martin Sarton.
Martin Sarton, the ball carrier. Larry Ruck, the tackler.
I think you missed the call. That's why.
Gain of 6, it'll be second down and 4. Hamilton, the ball on the
Greg Miller healthy. He's about their 8th string Canadian running back, and yet Greg Miller has had a lot to do in this first half and has scored a touchdown. Second down, the Tiger Cats choosing the short pass with Jeff Tommy.
Jeff Tommy.
Dumping off to the running backs. Eskimos dropping into a straight zone. Larry Ruck cheated out to the short side, and all they're trying to do is take away that middle area. The only person or the only people you can really throw to safely are the running backs, unless you see something come open early. Tony Champion is down. Almost looks like he's got a cramp the way he's acting.
The injured Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Ticats were all set to go to the ball at their 54-yard line and start a play and realize that Champion wasn't there.
Tony Champion set up, comes off the ball. And it might, you know, it's strange how things happen. Muscles, if they're not loosened up properly, can give away as strains happen. You can't necessarily put a finger on it, but they are looking at and feeling the back of the thigh, which is the hamstring. When you least expect it, sometimes those injuries just creep up and happen.
Well, the man who replaces him at a wide receiver position is Earl Winfield. Well, this late summer or early fall, whatever it is, it's a nice day in Edmonton.
Well, it was fairly brisk this morning at about 8 o'clock, but actually it's an ideal day for football. It warms up, the sun keeps the players warm.
Now, as we walked at 8 o'clock this morning, fairly brisk was not how we described it.
Regardless, it is a lovely day for football.
Tony Champion, the injured Tiger Cats.
Well, Champion finally making it to the Hamilton bench, and the Tiger Cats finally getting to the ball and running this first down play with a minute and a half to go, clock moving. Kerrigan completes the pass, and more for Chapdelaine. Small penalty, 5 yards, but that's how big it can be. Tiger Cats would have been in field goal range, marching toward a touchdown. And now they turn around and go all the way back into their territory.
Really a silly penalty. You know when the ball's going to be snapped, it's repeated in the huddle. You break, and that's one of the things you're concentrating on.
First down and 15. Hamilton, the ball on their own 50.
You see, Winfield just past the line of scrimmage. Usually, you know, when the receiver goes out near the referee, he puts his hand out and say, okay, I'm on the line. The referee will signal back, yeah, you're fine, but evidently not this time. You see right there, just put his hand out.
Well, now he's about a yard behind the line of scrimmage, just to be sure. Kerrigan throws sidelines, nice catch as he was going out of bounds by Steve Stapler.
Kerrigan pass to Steve
Stapler playing this game with a bruised knee. Doesn't seem to affect him here. See a pad on the left knee to protect it. Just going down, again, forcing that defensive back to come off, to separate, then coming back to the sidelines. He knows the quarterback, Kerrigan, wants to throw the ball low to the outside, come back to that spot for him. Just a good catch. So you see ice being applied to the back of the thigh of Tony Champion.
2nd and 5, and the catch is going to be 3rd and 5, as that play didn't look like it was going anywhere right from the beginning. Sarton wasn't out there quickly enough, I don't think, and the Eskimos had it defended very well.
I think what happens is the Eskimos on that side were in man coverage, and Brian Warren is just racing when Sarton races out there. Sarton saw him coming, but wanted to plant and make the move before he had the ball, hoping that he could mesh both together. Just didn't come true.
Williams and Sandusky are deep as Balliston turns and kicks the ball toward the sidelines, and Jim Sandusky does a nice job of both. Sandusky gets a run back. The ball is Balliston clearly didn't want to kick the ball to Gizmo Williams on that play.
44-yard punt, 10-yard return.
Al Bruno told us today that as Balliston can kick the ball as well as anybody, if he doesn't worry about what's going on around him. He thought about buying him some blinders, and he figured, no, that'd be too heavy on his helmet, keep his head down too much.
The two punt returners are the two wide receivers, Williams and Sandusky, for the Eskimos, who lead by 8. With a minute to go in the first half. Ham throws it far side for Gizmo Williams, too high. A lot of passes can be too high for him. Tony Champion will get an early start to the dressing room.
It is a pulled hamstring in that right leg. As simple as it seemed when we watched him in that isolation, coming off the ball, that's how easy it can happen.
2nd down Eskimos from their 16 with 59 seconds to go. Hammond room to run, threw it deep. This is Williams, he's got it. And it's an Earl Winfield type of game for Gizmo Williams if he continues at this rate. He's got a 100-yard punt return for a touchdown and a long pass reception late in this first half.
Well executed play. Tracy Ham's getting everything going to the right. He peels around. You're going to get a chance to see Henry Williams go down, released to the outside on Les Brown, and he is out of bounds. Pushed out and comes back in. He might as well come off the bench. They're both illegal.
Flag was thrown, but Williams not caught it. The Eskimos should have received some yardage on the penalty. And tosses a completion that doesn't amount to much.
And a pass to Chris Skinner. Brought down by Mike Robinson.
Rather have that incomplete because it would have stopped the clock. This way the Eskimos have to hustle to the ball. Clock moving at 40 seconds. Moving slowly and now quickly. Tracy Ham could score. With one block, he does it easily, yes.
Tracy Ham on a straight sprint. You're going to see the hole in which he's going to run through and what he has to look at. Good blocking upfield by both Walling and Skinner. He just decides it's time to go. Comes back against the flow. Good block by Williams right there across the middle. Big old Rod Conop is chasing down, trying to throw a block for him, but it wasn't necessary.
Well, there's no need to worry about Tracy Ham's ankle, I don't think. Not today. Not when he can run like that. And Korek makes the convert. It is 21-6. And that's what you can do in the final minute of the half. A long pass to Gizmo Williams set it up, and a long run by Tracy Ham finished it.
33, Mike Robinson is just trying to mirror where Ham's going when he sprints. When he starts to run, you could tell because Robinson tried to change direction to get back into Ham's face. Loses his balance and goes down. That was the Ticats' only hope right there.
Al Bruno's fear, if that's the word coming into this game, was containing Tracy Ham. He said we did it in Hamilton, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen today.
Well, a minute ago you saw Mike Faragelli, Joe Faragelli's son, who's the offensive coordinator, just briefly talking with Tracy Ham. Howard Fields was right when he said we would see a new Tracy Ham today. They have seen that.
Tony on the kick return. Only 24 seconds left for the Tiger Cats, who now trail by 15 points.
59-yard kickoff, 22-yard return.
Eskimo defense has done a fine job keeping Mike Kerrigan back on his heels, a little bit out of sync. Whether it's been through coverage or pressure, they've done a great job of mixing things up, understanding that when he does get settled in his drops and throwing rhythm, he can beat you.
Kerrigan rolled out, gave himself some time. Winfield dropped the pass with Stanley Blair looking after him. I think the coverage really has been better than the pressure on Kerrigan in this game. Of course, the Eskimos can prevent passing yardage either way, and then some.
Well, Bruno said one of the big things in the Eskimo defense as far as improvements go from 1987 to 1988 is the changeover putting Don Wilson at safety. Says it makes them a lot better. All five are playing better.
Kerrigan tosses to Sarton. He's going to be at least a yard short of the first down, and the Eskimos have asked for timeout with 13 seconds to go.
Well, the awareness of Danny Bass, the defensive captain, right after he made the hit there on Sarton, he comes up signaling timeout, knowing that Sarton is a yard, if less, short. Always under control, both physically and mentally.
Obviously, the reason the Eskimos want the timeout to force us Baldiston to punt the ball with time on the clock, and if he punts it, it means that Sandusky or Williams will get a chance to return it if the ball is in bounds. Looking for a block from Williams, didn't get it, and the Tiger Cats get Jim Sandusky down with only 1 second remaining in the first half. The Eskimos will run one play, and now the question is, do they throw the play away by having Ham just drop down, or do they try something long and deep? Who knows what might happen.
Al Bruno coming into this game said, man for man, we are as good as the Eskimos. It'll come down to the little things like special team play. And he hit that on the head.
Looks like the Eskimos are going to let the first half run out. That's the case. And so they take with them to the dressing room a 21-6 lead. Touchdowns by Gizmo Williams, Greg Miller, and quarterback Tracy Ham. Mike Kerrigan, as you can see, has a bruised left elbow. He doesn't throw with that arm, but that and his relative ineffectiveness enough to keep him on the sidelines, with Tom Porras directing the Hamilton attack now from the 25-yard line. Ticats down by 18 points. Just under 7 minutes to go in this third quarter. Sarton gets away from one man and then couldn't hold his feet and goes down. Larry Ruck there to make sure he stays down.
Larry Ruck gets in very quickly and disrupts a good defensive play by Ruck. You're going to see him come right through right there at the bottom of your screen. Take the block on with the hip. The hand goes down. He swings off starting to begin with, and he gets back into the tackle. Penetration like that comes that quickly. Just destroys the offensive play.
Destroyed it to the tune of a 5-yard loss. Intercept the pass. Ron Howard beats Rocky DiPietro, and it's a third turnover of the game for the Tiger Cats, who lead the league in giveaway takeaway ratio. They're a very good team when it comes to creating turnovers and avoiding them, but not today. They haven't created one, and they have been hurt by 3 of their own.
Blitzing up the middle, Dan Bass picked up well by Jed Tommy, but just great position by Ron Howard on Rocky DiPietro, was able to make the jump in the ball. And some have said that the Eskimos secondary knock more balls down than they pick off.
Well, Ham was expecting to go down. It took a while, but he goes down at the 50-yard line. And Mike Walker was creating most of the pressure, as he often does for the Tiger Cats.
Ron Howard's second interception of the '88 season. Defensive backs of the Eskimos said, you know, we've been finding ourselves in the positions to make the interceptions, but we think it's a lack of concentration, not following through. We're knocking them down. We may have the most knockdowns in the league. Now we have to start taking that concentration a step further and catching the ball.
Interesting call on second down and about 18 yards to go. The Eskimos don't get much. Corrick comes on. Scrimmage line the 47, so Jerry Corrick will be punting and not trying a field goal. Win significant enough to do this and not try for 3 points.
Some confusion. The time clock is running down. Quick snap.
Flag is thrown on the play as Tilney up at his 15-yard line. Fumbled the ball, and talk about turnovers. There's another one. We'll check the penalty when we return. The CFN game is brought to you by Foster's Lager. The Tiger Cats had too many men on the field, and it didn't even help them recover Wally Zatilny's punt.
Zatilny will take it. Junior Robinson, you'll see the hit coming up right on the ball. Right here. Good tackle, strips the ball, and Brian Walling comes up with it.
Well, it looks like a rout for the Eskimos. They lead by 18 and a chance to add to that margin. 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Tracy Ham running with another flag down. He lost the ball. And the Tiger Cats have recovered it. Again, the penalty flags must be identified. Hamilton offside.
Even when the Ticats get a break, they don't get a break. Things go from bad to worse for Al Bruno.
Offside. Hamilton, number 61. First down repeated.
Mike Walker identified as the culprit. So it's 1st and 5 from the 16-yard line. Taking a break on the sidelines. Richards is in the slot back spot for the Eskimos. On 1st and 5, they give it to Walling, and he's tackled by Mike Walker as he hit the line of scrimmage.
Ball carrier brought down by Mike Walker.
Eskimos will have to be pleased what they see out of their Canadian running backs today, and the Hamilton defense hung in there for most of the time. Actually, haven't played too badly. Tracy Ham deserves an awful lot of credit for the way he's moved the ball from receiver to receiver and called an awfully good game.
On 2nd and 3, it's Walling again, and once more, he goes nowhere. Skillman makes the big defensive play that time, and so they're going to have to settle for 3 points if Corrick can get them after having a 1st and 5 situation.
No gain.
Joe Faragelli looks at this time of year as time to start to spread it out. See Walker come through inside the block, just to his right. Skillman does the same thing and makes the hit.
Corey hit the goal post on the field goal that wasn't good. This is another successful three-pointer, and it makes the score Edmonton 27 and Hamilton 6. We will pause 10 seconds for the stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching the Canadian Football Network. .22 yards. And a 21-point lead for the Eskimos. The Tiger Cats haven't scored since the first quarter.
We began to say a little bit earlier, Dave, that Joe Faragelli sees this time of season at the halfway point where his football team should start to put some distance between the rest of the club. Start winning the football games. Start to set yourself up for the playoffs now.
Winfield head down to the 45. Tom Morris will try once again to get the Tiger Cats moving on offense. This Edmonton defense has really taken charge, coincidentally or not, since Stuart Hill returned to the Eskimos, and I guess it's not a coincidence. He has played very well and hasn't been as much in evidence today as in the past couple of games, but the Edmonton Eskimos rate #1 on defense, and they're showing the Tiger Cats why today. Torres slipped down and then was put down by the toaster, Brett Williams.
Tom Forrest put down by Brett Williams.
I think a lot of the reason Dan Bass is having such a good season at middle linebacker is because of the front four of the Eskimos. Again, you see Porras slip. The Ticats are having a hard time with their footing. Obviously changed around. The Eskimos know this field as well as anyone and should, and they've got the right footwear on because they're not slipping and sliding.
Porras for Chapdelaine. He is well short of the first down. Well, the Edmonton defense stays out for another 2 plays and turns to the bench and lets Gizmo and Jim Sandusky go back to field a Paula's ball is to the punt.
It's a simple play. You see Chapdelaine break off the behind of Winfield. Winfield goes down, and that just acts as a pick, because if he can go close to that receiver, he knows the defender can't be too close. The ball's thrown in the right spot, but not enough for the first down.
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
One bounce, Sandusky over his shoulder. An alert play by Jim Sandusky and not by some Tiger Cats who figured he was going out of bounds and gave up on the play.
Well, it's the old double fake, so you think I'm going out of bounds, so I will, but I won't, and I'll take it up the sidelines. You can't drop your guard when you're covering guys like Sandusky and Henry Williams.
Tracy Ham had 66 yards rushing in the first half, including the 41-yard touchdown run. Good play. Linebacker Darryl Corbin on Chris Skinner. The Tiger Cats are still aggressive up front on defense against this running of the Eskimos, but you wonder whether it's time for Tracy Ham to throw a deep pass and see if he can wake some people up in the secondary.
7 yards.
Thinking about a pass here on second down. Blitz is coming from Hamilton. And tosses it off. It's tipped and batted down to avoid an interception by Chris Skinner.
Well, the blitz came from the safety spot. Scott Flagle's going to come up. They got to get to Tracy Ham, but maintain that pocket. I think they do a pretty good job. Corbin splits, go to the right. Flagle to the left. This ball's thrown up and tipped by Flagle. And I think Skinner does a pretty good job of knocking it down because Mike Walker saw an interception coming right there.
The reception wasn't going to help Skinner or the Eskimos, so he just wanted to be safe. Rourke, a subpar day punting. The wind has had a bit to do with that. He is averaging normally 46 yards. Well below that today.
Let's go, let's go.
Winfield hesitating, trying to find some room to run. It never did materialize. He snuck into Edmonton territory at the 53-yard line. One more play, 8 seconds anyway, left in the third quarter.
It's tough to set up a good return when the ball's punted short. Everyone runs down and they set up and practice for running. They're either their wall or their middle return against a 40-yard punt. When it's shortened up, it throws that whole scheme off.
This will be the final play of the third quarter. 15 minutes remaining and a lot of points needed by the Tiger Cats. Sarton cuts into the middle for 4 yards, and that'll do it for the first 3 quarters. Eskimos added 2 field goals to their halftime total of 21. Eskimos a win today for 14 points. Saskatchewan is 12 and BC 10. That makes Friday's game interesting. Tom Larscheid will join Neil and me in the broadcast booth for that game. And then Hall of Fame Day, Sunday. The site of the Hall, of course, is Hamilton. So the Hall of Fame game is the Riders and the Ticats. And then the Grey Cup rematch, the Argonauts and the Edmonton Eskimos, both on the Canadian Football Network. Pass is thrown behind DiPietro, got one hand on it, and could not bring it in. The Hall of Fame inductees in 1988, Royal Copeland, Tony Padzikowski, Ed McQuarters, and Argonaut President Ralph Sazia, who I guess goes in for much of his work done in Hamilton while general manager of the Tiger Cats, coach of the Tiger Cats, and a lot of things for the Tiger Cats. Sandusky returning Osbaldiston's punt again goes out of bounds with 2 Tiger Cats to wrap him up there. So the game has certainly developed a pattern ever since the Eskimos got their offense going in the second quarter. They have scored enough to be comfortably ahead, and the Tiger Cats have scored nothing since their 2 field goals early in the game.
With Sandusky and Williams deep, they're trying to fake out Paul Osbaldiston to where to kick the football. They'd like the ball to get into Williams' hand, or maybe Henry Williams wants the ball to get into his hands.
One of the strange parts of the game is the fact that Osbaldiston has out-punted Corrick today. I don't think anybody figured on that. Ham exercising the arm. Quite a battle for that ball. All the fans naturally thinking that Lance Shields created some interference on Jim Sandusky, but no flag was thrown. Sandusky gets up and runs a bit gingerly back to the huddle.
So look at Dale Sanderson, center of the Ticats, who went out a couple plays ago when the Ticats had the ball. Going through a little bit of a regiment to see if the doctor, or show the doctor to see where he's having problems getting in his crouch.
Henry Williams adds to his good day, and Tracy Ham gets up a bit slowly.
Henry Williams had an interesting concept about playing wide receiver. He figures that punt returns he has to beat 12. He figured if he caught 4 or 5 balls today as a receiver, he only has to beat 3 or 4, so he should be able to score twice. Just simple down, take the break and come inside, stays in front of and between the defensive back and quarterback, just a simple throw and catch.
Caught it while being hit by Lance Shields. Here's Ham. Oh, he was rocked. Tiger Cats getting in some good licks. That's Grover Covington hitting Tracy Ham, who is more accustomed to wide open spaces during his runs than that.
Well, he's going to come right at you here. It's a sprint out. Hector Potier makes a step. But Grover Covington is able to get to the outside, force Greg Miller to block deep. Ham tries to cut up, and The old wily veteran Grover Covington collapsed on and puts a pretty good shot on Tracy Ham.
Stephen Jones, a spectator today, though he is in uniform for Edmonton. Ham again, throwing it deep. And he's overthrowing these receivers, showing the power in his arm, but not laying it in for Tom Richards. Again, Tracy Ham pays for his pass attempt.
You're right, that's 2 plays in a row, and you can see when he gets up and walks away that he's taking a good shot this time by Arnold Grievous. You're going to see him wide to the screen, just come into it right now in the corner. He takes a heavy hit, the upper body. It's very jarring when you're relaxing and getting ready to throw a football. You don't know he's coming. See the big rib pads that Tracy Ham has. Need all the protection they can get, those guys.
Awaiting the snap, and you're right, Blake Dermott makes the ball like that. The benefit of a bounce. Tony is taken down. This is a Foster's Lager telecast of the Canadian Football Network. 12 minutes and 6 seconds left. There is time for the Hamilton Tiger Cats to get back into this game, but whether the Cats have the ability against this Edmonton defense is doubtful after what we've seen in the first 3 quarters. Horace deep, Winfield, he's got it, and he scores. And just like that, yes, the Tiger Cats do show the ability to strike and get back into the game as Porras to Winfield for 58 yards cracks the touchdown drought for Hamilton.
Same play he caught last week. It's a post pattern. See him break through the middle. There's not going to be anyone there. Don Wilson has vacated. That allows Winfield to come in a little bit further this time because of the space. As I said, just reenacting last week's touchdown against the Argonauts.
Well, it's Gizmo Williams and Earl Winfield tied at a touchdown apiece now. Osbaldiston with a convert, and suddenly the Tiger Cats are within 14 points. And the game gets a bit more interesting with 11:50 to go.
Well, the key is the great protection as you look at big Mike Dirks there, number 68, protecting the quarterback, and Winfield and Porras being on the same wavelength, knowing that middle's open and throwing the ball a little bit more to the inside away from the cover of Benjamin. That allows the play to not just be a reception and tackle, but a big play.
Now Bruno not yet getting excited about the possibility of a Ticat comeback, but Joe Farragalli is, I think, starting to hope that the Eskimos move the ball on offense, which they really haven't done since late in the second half of the second quarter.
Both coaches, Coach Brian Dickinson and Joe Farragalli, are calling, watch the onside kick. The Eskimos put an extra man up there, Rickhouse on one side and Marco Sinkar on the other, in that little hole that is often left open by many teams on kickoff return.
Really kick it deep. Don Wilson. The Tiger Cats have really teed off on the Eskimos. They have been more aggressive in this second half than Edmonton has. Winfield getting set for his next duty, whatever it might be. Stu Hill returned to the Edmonton Eskimos, and the Eskimos held BC to 9 points 3 weeks ago, then held Calgary to 11 points. And Hamilton has 13, but a moment ago, the Tiger Cats were held to 6, so shows you how effective the Edmonton defense has been since Stuart Hill has come back. Still got it with a rush by Walker. That's Jim Sandusky with the catch. Mike Walker was bearing down on Tracy Ham, but Ham just eludes those tacklers and the pass rushers so well.
Well, you know how quick Tracy Ham is. A bootleg, fake to the left and come around to the right. He's got Blake Dermott out in front, but the quickness of Walker to get around behind. And then Sandusky just curling and finding a little area to hide.
First time the Eskimo offense has had to answer a Hamilton touchdown in this game. Ham goes down. Frank Robinson pinning him for a loss of 5 yards.
Pinned by Frank Robinson.
Well, you see Tracy Ham now a little bit of a wobble when he walks back. That last tackle on the reception to Sandusky, the tackle came late, but it was by Walker, very legal. You see right here, he's going to try to put a little bit of a shake. And then he stumbles when he comes out of that shake, and I think that shows you there that the ankle might not be 100% close, but just not quite enough to get him off.
Well, all the running plays in the third quarter might be explained by the fact that Ham's ankle is starting to bother him. He's skipping around back there now. Good pass, good catch. Gizmo went out of bounds, they say. Otherwise, he scores on the play. It's a good move. Henry's still running back there. He hears the boos and not the cheers and probably knows what the outcome is. The official back at the 35-yard line ruling Williams out of bounds.
This isn't a play unless Tracy Ham can step up in the pocket and slide. Now watch him. He's still looking. The ball isn't tucked away. He's throwing it. Just that experience as time goes on. Just in this season, he has learned that if you approach the line of scrimmage with the ball out, your defensive backs are going to stay and not really be sure.
Okay, not out of bounds, but down with the play bringing a whistle because of the fact that Williams was hit and went to his knee. First down at the 35. At the line by Brian Walling. He's shown power running earlier and now picking his way for a first down near the 18-yard line.
Well, you're going to see a combination of quickness and power. He's going to take that draw, just follow Chris Skinner up the hole. Downfield, Marco Sincar gives him a block. He's just like a couple of coiled springs, those legs of his. He's tough to knock off, tremendous balance.
Skinner, and he was looking for room where there wasn't any. Corbin came up and made the tackle on Chris Skinner right at the line of scrimmage.
Skinner almost seemed a little bit tentative when he gets to the outside. I think that may have to do with the way the Tiger Cat defense is pursuing. Ham signaling to the sidelines.
And the sidelines signaling to Ham. You're the quarterback, call the play. Sincar went in for Richards. Whether he carried a play, you wonder. Tracy Ham for Marco Sincar. Lying on his back, juggling the ball, and they say he didn't catch it. Tracy Ham still upset. And Jerry Corrick will be asked to kick the field goal with 8:05 to go. A field goal that would give Edmonton a 17-point lead, and at this point, anything more than 2 touchdowns still makes the Eskimo lead look very safe. 26-yard field goal attempt. Corrick has made 3 of them today, and it's Edmonton 30 and Hamilton 13. Gizmo Williams has a 100-yard punt return, and he's helped Tracy Ham's passing stats as well with 3 catches. The turnovers normally work in favor of Hamilton, but not today. Cats will be throwing the ball, you'd think, on most plays. Down by 17 points with 7.5 minutes to go. Forrest incomplete on that try.
Forrest had that ball thrown in the air well before Earl Winfield had made his cut. Tom Forrest adds a different type of dimension to this game for the Tiger Cats. A little bit more mobile than Mike Kerrigan, but right now I don't think it's going to make much difference. He's going to have to air this ball and get it downfield.
Throwing to Jet Tommy. There was a collision after the ball was dropped. And Al Bruno just stands and stares and wonders about the offense. One big play is all for Hamilton today. A 58-yard pass for a touchdown earlier in this quarter. Which sparked a bit of optimism perhaps at that Hamilton bench. Otherwise, the Tiger Cats have seen the Eskimos control much of this game. Another nice punt by Osbaldiston. Williams goes in behind Sandusky to get it. Gizmo still in his feet. Whistled out of bounds. And across the field and not very far up the field in that play. But Henry Williams has been a big part of this Edmonton lead, 30-13. Scoring one touchdown and helping to set one up with a nice pass reception. That a 55-yard punt by Paul Osbaldiston. So if the Tiger Cats are going to count good things about this game, that would be one of them.
Dave Richardson saw the right shoe off the right foot getting retaped, and the situation's a little bit more severe, looks like, for Dale Sanderson. The ice is already on, so he won't be back.
Conservatively, the Eskimos go running on first down.
Once again, Grover Covington with that shield makes him look that much more ominous. He's laid some hits on today.
Gain of a couple of these, second down and 8. Everton, the ball on their own 29.
Those running plays keep the clock moving, and the Eskimos are anxious to do that, perhaps anxious to run as well, so Tracy Ham can protect his ankle, which at times looks as though it has hampered him a bit. Williams, another catch, and he stayed on his feet. Who knows how far that play might have gone.
Well, the Eskimos set their formation to the wide side of the field. Three receivers, one running back up in the line of scrimmage. But Tracy Ham's going to look left quick and then snap to the right. Lance Shields is in coverage, but he's well off Williams. Williams does a quick post down the field quickly, sets inside. That was a close one.
Unofficially, that's 100 yards through the air for Gizmo Williams. Ham still running. Boy, look at those moves. For a first down, not really running that fast, it doesn't look like, but he's got a whole lot of Hamilton tacklers reaching for air, trying to bring him down.
Well, with that ankle starting to look a little bit sore, we may see Greg Vavra very shortly getting that arm warm. The other end, number 10, Harold Smith, keeping his arm loose. Brett Williams catching the ball. Usually the receivers are warming up the quarterbacks. What's a defensive lineman do?
Number 2.
Ham, another deep one. This is Sandusky. Again, Tracy Ham shows the power in the arm. Can't quite get it there as he fires it too deep.
And was passed intended by Jim Sandusky, incomplete.
Mike Walker telling Tracy Ham to stop running around, just set up and drop back. Give us something to chase, because defensive line of the Hamilton Tiger Cats will drop a few pounds today just simply by chasing Tracy Ham. And again, you can see him when he's walking, a little bit labored. That ankle, which was, I'm sure, 100% when the game started, beginning to weaken and get a bit sore.
Look at Greg Vavra, who may be coming into this game. The Eskimos won't wait until they give up the ball to call it a day for Tracy Ham. He limped rather noticeably to the bench after throwing that last pass, and Greg Vavra is in the game. Second down from the 54 and fumbles the handoff. He or Brian Walling did that. Walling tackled back at the 45-yard line. Obviously, while Damon Allen is out with a shoulder injury, and Tracy Ham isn't 100% physically, the Eskimos have to concern themselves with having another quarterback ready, especially with 2 games coming up against the Argonauts. And so Greg Vavra will get some playing time the rest of this day.
Not only get another quarterback ready, but protect the guy who's your number 1 right now. There's no need to have Tracy Ham in this game. 4 minutes, 12 seconds left and counting.
That'll probably be Corrick's best punt of this day. Winfield juggles it. Goes near the 20-yard line. Following this game, we will select and talk to the Canadian Football Network's most valuable player of an apparent Edmonton victory. The Eskimos leading by 17 points with exactly 4 minutes to go. And if the lead holds up, Edmonton will remain undefeated at home this season. The only CFL team without a loss on its home field. The Argonauts were unbeaten until the other night when the Saskatchewan Roughriders edged them by a point. Martin Sarton near a first down for the Tiger Cats.
Brought down by Danny Bass.
Well, once again, middle linebacker Danny Bass showing his mobility, getting out. Sarton, this play's nicely set up. They pull a guard, Ralph Schultz, but still, in pursuit of the Eskimos, is able to get over and limit the game. What's it do?
Second down, the Cats need 2 from their 28. Sarton gets that and more for the first down.
Martin Sarton with the ball brought down by Brian Warren.
This CFN game is brought to you by Foster's Lager.
Hamilton, the ball on their own 33.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats had 3 straight wins coming into this game. It looks as though the Eskimos are going to have a 3-game winning streak when it's over. This will add to it. As easy as they come, a touchdown with an interception by Clifford Toney, 35 yards.
Bruno wondering what has happened to his offense that averaged 30.8 points per game coming into this one. Cliff Toney does nothing but read the quarterback. It pays to watch film the week before because he jumps on this ball sitting in the weeds, back off. It looks like the receiver's open, but just great quickness and anticipation by Cliff Toney takes him in the end zone on his 3rd interception of 88.
Point. The Edmonton Eskimos have a touchdown by special teams, a couple of touchdowns along the ground, and now a touchdown by the defense.
Well, you go to the well a couple times too often, Dave, and Kerrigan had a little bit of success throwing to the flat to Sarton. Tom Porras has thrown a few out there, and it's only a matter of time, especially when you can be in an aggressive situation like the Eskimo defense is right now, sitting back and waiting, because you know the ball's going to be thrown. A little bit of luck and good knowledge of the game and what the offense is going to do against you pays off right there for Toney.
That's the 5th Hamilton turnover of the game, and as we said, the Tiger Cats were the best team in the league at creating and avoiding turnovers, not on this day. Winfield has Hamilton's only touchdown. It was on a pass reception. He has been outdone today by Gizmo Williams in terms of returning punts and kickoffs. Well, Porras will try again with 2:39 to go. The standings after this game will show Edmonton alone in first place in the West by 2 points over Saskatchewan and by 4 points over BC. Toronto continues to lead the East by 2 over Hamilton and by 4 over Winnipeg. These teams will be at home a week from today and will be at both games. Almost another Hamilton turnover. Tommy lost the ball, but Zitelny picked it up. Tiger Cats home to Ottawa. Eskimos home to Toronto. Al Bruno said he ran into the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the airport on the way to Edmonton. Saskatchewan, of course, on the way home, and said thanks for beating the Argos, and they said, well, please return the favor and beat Edmonton for us. Hasn't happened.
Well, we've got a few changes in the Eskimo defensive lineup. Mike McLean's at the outside linebacker spot, and Dan Kearns is on the defense. Both players come into play here. Kearns makes the read as Porras almost drops the snap. Danny Kearns is fighting to the outside, right there, 95, and then Porras does turn up the field, and he faces Mike McLean.
Al Bruno, of course, was wondering of me prior to this game whether I still thought the best team in the league had to be a toss-up between Toronto, BC, and Edmonton. And I said, no, the Hamilton Tiger Cats with 3 straight wins are definitely in that group now, and he laughed, and I think so did I. And I'm not even going to say that this takes Hamilton out of that group. Tiger Cats have been soundly beaten here today by the Eskimos, but obviously have shown enough in recent weeks to contend for first place.
Donovan Grant, the end of the line of scrimmage on punt situation. First responsibility, stop your man from rushing, make him start over, then get down the field. Goes down, now break down, settle down, and let the guy come to you and take the outside away. He does that nicely, then falls into the tackle and makes the play. Grant, the second-round draft choice of the Argonauts in 1986.
Maverick completes a pass. Hitting Jim Sandusky as time runs down below 2 minutes.
Is complete. Jim Sandusky.
Well, you know, when Babber gets in the game, he's just not going to try to keep the ball on the ground. He gets an opportunity to play and throw the ball a little bit. He's going to do it. He worked out a bit when he was in the BC Lions. Sandusky was one of the receivers then, and just renewing old acquaintances.
Nice game from Brian Walling. He has shown that kind of hard running and some nifty moves on occasion as well as he moves the yardsticks.
Along with Scott Flagel.
Well, that offensive line of the Eskimos, Hector Potier, Blake Dermott, Rod Conop, Dave Richardson, and Trevor Bowles have done a nice job on misdirection and opening big holes for Walling today.
I wonder, with all of the Canadian running backs that the Eskimos have used this season, why all of them are available to the Grey Cup champions.
Well, I think you have to look to a guy like Frank Morris, who's the scout, who does a tremendous job of acquiring talent, and Ray Newman, who is the U.S. scout. These are the guys that find people, late cuts from the NFL, kids out of the college in Canada, and kids that play junior football like Dave Richardson, who's a tremendous find. They were touting him in training camp as maybe as a rookie being one of the best pass blockers on the offensive line.
As you lose Marshall and Johnstone and Tony Spallettini, you would excuse the Eskimos if they said, well, we're going to have to go out and get an import running back. We just can't keep going with Canadians if they're all going to be hurt. Sandusky makes the catch and steps out of bounds. But as they lose him, they just keep getting more and putting them into uniform and not being afraid at all to hand them the ball. We saw that earlier when Greg Miller scored his touchdown, and Walling has handled it a lot today. And to be honest, Walling has been more effective today than Chris Skinner has.
Well, you know, one of the keys to that, Dave, is when practice, when you've got them in camp, you don't just let them sit around and watch. You get them involved in the offense, give them the repetitions. So when the time does come, they're relatively familiar with your offense.
Ryan Walling.
Walling had bounced around, been in a couple of CFL camps before he got here. Toronto and Saskatchewan had looked at him.
Down by Barrow.
I guess his name first came to light when he had a stop at the Miami Dolphins training camp. Obviously didn't make the NFL team, but probably richer for the experience. I think that's Marco's first catch of the game.
Well, the slot back position of the Eskimos is also one of rotation with Sinkar, Tom Richards, and Rick House, all very capable. And again, you want to talk about depth. They've just got tremendous depth in the inside spot also.
All of these Canadians on offense allow them to stack the defense, as it were, with American players, 5 of them in the secondary. Not an orthodox move in the CFL to use all 5 secondary positions for imports, but the Eskimos can do it because of their Canadian strength when they have the ball. Babber to the end zone. There's a battle there, and the ball will come down in the arms of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Lance Shields. It'll be an interception in front of Jim Sandusky. And finally, a turnover created by the Tiger Cats today.
Lance Shields, a native of Buffalo, just has great position on Sandusky, backpedaling and then turns. Now he's got himself between the quarterback and the receiver, and just simply Sandusky, running out of real estate, couldn't keep going. Good job of concentrating on the football by Shields, turning in good body position and control. Unfortunately, it can't come at a happier time.
33 seconds to go. Porras to Lee Knight, who's in the game with a reception. Tiger Cats up to the ball quickly, trying to get as many plays into this last half minute as possible. Knight again. 2 Eskimos bring him down, still short of the first down. Unless they rule that he caught the ball at the 35-yard line, which may be the case.
Lee Knight, an interesting story that comes out of the Hamilton Tiger Cat junior football system. Really only began playing football just a few years ago, 1984. He's been with the Tiger Cats a couple of years. Al Bruno still refers to him as a rookie, but has come along nicely.
It was a Hamilton first down. Porras to Chapdelaine. 2 Eskimos collide, watching him go out of bounds. And there'll be one more play left in this Edmonton victory over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and unless that play produces a score, the game will finish 37-13 in Edmonton's favor. Bill Farragalli saw it start slowly and might have wondered what was coming when the Tiger Cats scored a touchdown early in this fourth quarter, but otherwise, Edmonton has been in control. That's it. Lee Knight with a catch to close out the statistics on offense for Hamilton, and the game ends 37-13 in favor of the Edmonton Eskimos, still alone in first place in the West.
Edmonton defense once again earlier on in the game coming up big, doing a good job of confusing what we think was confusing Mike Kerrigan, not allowing him to get in a very familiar position of being comfortable throwing the football and hurting defenses. And I think even though their offensive line of Hamilton did a good job, there no one came open, and the credit has to go to the coverage of the secondary and the coaching staff for coming up with what you'd have to consider a pretty good defensive scheme and game plan.
So perhaps in Italian they say thanks for the game, and the Eskimos take the 2 points with them.